Let me ask you this. When was the last time you had a moment so good that you forgot to take a picture? If it's been a while or you can't remember, friend, we might have a problem. Today's episode, we are unpacking. Is content creation and all of the things kryptonite for being present in life? This episode is for anyone who feels like life is moving too damn fast. It's for the over-documenters who are looking to shift from filming to feeling. And if you're somebody who feels like life is just slipping through their fingers and you're constantly worried about tomorrow or yesterday, this episode is for you. The affirmation is, I cherish life in this present moment. Are you ready? Get set. Let's grow. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of From the Ground to the Crown, a podcast community where we grow with intention, elevate our mindset, and step into the highest version of ourselves unapologetically. I'm your girl, your host, Kenisha B, and as always, thank you for joining me. All right, let's unpack this today because as a content creator, as somebody who is constantly filming things in life, whether it's my podcast, content that I do with my husband, any of the things, I am having to take time out and be very intentional about being present. But let's be honest, that is hard. And in today's world, where we are constantly being fed this rumor that if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. I wanted to make this episode about being present to rethink and relook at how we define presence and how important it is for us to be in the moment. Today's affirmation from the Hey Friend, Hey card deck, it says, yesterday has gone and tomorrow will come. So remember to stay in today and be present in every moment, friend. Don't just let time fly by. Live in it. And again, the affirmation is, I cherish life in this present moment. And I'm hit you with this ism. The best memories aren't posted, they're felt. Let's get into it because I feel like there's this constant motion, especially with social media and how things are growing, that takes us out of being present in our lives. And that shit is doing more damage than we recognize. It is hurting more than it's healing. Like I said earlier, there's this notion that if you don't document it, then it didn't really happen. When the truth is, some of life's most meaningful moments are invisible to other people. They're the ones that cause you to have the belly laugh, or the ones that are filled with tears that you never speak about. Those little moments that people probably outside of you don't recognize are moments, right? That presence, that being in it, it does something to the human. It does something to us. And it helps us to live more fully, to create more beautiful memories. And it helps us to attract and manifest. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. Let me share a story with you because although I create a lot of content, I am a very present person. You will catch me looking at the sunrise. You will catch me looking at the clouds and daydreaming. I love just moments. I do visual snapshots with my brain. I like to tell myself, I do that. And I say I'm capturing a picture. Because, I want to remember this moment. And one that really sticks out for me that, I don't know if I've ever even talked about this. I probably didn't even tell my husband. One of the moments that would stick out for me was being present with myself before I got married, before I literally got out the car to walk down the aisle. I was in a car, in an SUV, and I was sitting outside the park, and I said prayers, and I sat with myself, and I just remember the feelings, feeling all the feels from this big, huge moment that was about to happen. And I just sat there and I let myself feel it. And I looked at myself and I looked at my dress and I looked at my nails and I just soaked it all in. And I'm getting goosebumps on. No, you can see that, but the goosies are coming because I can still feel that feeling from that moment because it wasn't something that I forced myself to record or post about. It was just me being fully immersed in that present moment in my body. And I cherished it. I still cherish it to this day because it had such an impact. It was like the moment before I became one with my husband. That's beautiful, right? And there are moments like that that we have daily that we don't take with we don't recognize the amount of impact that a collection of those moments has on our lives until we look back and recognize that we weren't present in them and we miss them, right? Sometimes people are so focused on everything external. For example, people be so focused on birthday parties for kids and forgetting just about celebrating the fact that this person had this baby on this day. And this baby came earthside on this day, and just loving on them, reaching another milestone instead of the cake and the decor and the money being spent. Like, all of that is beautiful, but just to be present and really cherish this baby or this child for living another year, for the growth that they've had. I think sometimes we sacrifice the presence for the picture. And as a content creator, I'm constantly having to be intentional about having present moments because I'm automatically wanting to film things. And I do take a lot of pictures, but I have way more pictures in my phone that I don't share. Pictures of plants, pictures of just random art. I got like a video, like a 10-second video of a palm tree that I did like 2 days ago. And I was just amazed. And I'm looking back at the palm tree in my phone like, wow, not only did I sit in it and just look at the tree, then I recorded the tree, but I've walked past it many times before I recorded it because I wanted to have that present moment with it before I captured it. And so I just share that to say that we have to be more dedicated and more intentional about being present. And I'm tying in the law of attraction to this episode because of how much presence impacts your ability to attract things into your experience, into your life. And before we get to the root and rise segment, I want to share that it's so important to cherish these life moments because a lot of the things that we record and a lot of the things that are captured are not going to stick out to us at the end of the day. They're not the things that are going to jump to the forefront of your mind. You remember the smallest things at those points in times when you're like having to, right? I love watching my husband sleep. I don't know how y'all ladies feel, but I do. I sleep less than he does, so I get to watch him often. And I just cherish just looking at him, and I'll trace his face and I'll just smile so that I capture in the presence of the present moment. And I don't take pictures of it, but I enjoy it. I do it very often. And I know that when the time has come and we no longer get to spend this life together, I'll probably remember those moments because I have so many of them stored in my memory, you know? So yeah, let's get into the root and rise. But before that, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that button at the bottom of the screen so that you get notifications for all the episodes that drop. This is episode 29, friends, and it's the end of the month here. And we're wrapping up so many things. We've got a few, and by a few, I mean 2 more episodes of season 1 for From the Ground to the Crown. So not only will you get notified about the last few episodes from this season, but you will also be notified when I drop season 2 content, which you don't want to miss. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure you follow the podcast so you can stay connected to me along the way. Okay, welcome to Root and Rise. This segment of the podcast is where we take a thought that once had us stuck, dig deep into the root of it, and elevate it to a crown perspective so that we just look at it a little differently. And that's all that this is. I'm actually reading a book. It's somewhere around. Can't even look for it right now. But I'm reading a book called What Happened to You by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey. And in the book, it talks about how when we experience things, especially traumatic things, and not like, it doesn't have to be severe trauma. It could be any type of trauma. But when we experience things, it gets caught at the lower part of the brain and it doesn't move up to the higher or smarter parts of the brain. And I'm thinking about this concept of being present and about how when we're capturing things, it probably stays at like a lower part of the brain. But when we're present with things, it moves up to the higher parts of the brain and allows us to live differently. If you haven't read the book, I encourage anybody to read that book. And if you have read it, let me know your thoughts and if that makes sense to you. Okay. So for the root segment, did you know that not living in the present can increase memory distortion, right? Because people think they remember things exactly how they happened, and 10 times out of 10, our memories distort the memory, right? Especially when we're not present in it. It creates little like offs in the memory. It creates less details for the memory when you take yourself out of the present moment. Yeah, you remember like the bigger parts, but when you start getting detailed, you might not remember it, or you might like input things that weren't the truth in that memory to fill in the blanks because you weren't present. It can also have a grave impact on your relationships, especially when it comes to children. Have you ever seen a parent who is less present with their child and the impact on that child, not just as a child, but as an adult? They're a little less connected. They may have some emotional attachment issues, right? There are ways that kids pick up on cues from their parents or the adults around them based on how present people are with kids. So, for example, if you or someone you know are like constantly with the kid, but you're constantly on your phone as well, the kid then recognizes that they're not worth undivided attention. And they may grow up feeling like they need to act out to get attention, or that no one will pay attention to them, so they don't even ask for the things that they need, you know? And they may act out because the lack of presence that they felt growing up. Not being present also has a spiritual component that is severely impacted. Being non-present takes you away from your connection to source. When people are present, when you are in the moment, when you're not stressed about yesterday, you're not focused on what's coming tomorrow, when you're just in the day and right here, you are directly connected to the divine. You will get the downloads, you will get the uploads, you will get so much clarity when you are not anxious or depressed, when you're just here in the moment that you're living. And it takes you outside of the essence of your power. And a part of that power is attracting and manifesting and creating. And so if you are someone who's looking to create more, I would suggest that you start by being present more, just in it, not distracted, no nothing, just in the day. If you wake up and you're outside or you're walking or whatever you're doing, just be in that. And it's hard to do. I understand it because there's so many distractions, but it's not impossible. And with a little bit of practice each day, you can do it. No matter how much anxiety, no matter how depressed you've been, no matter how much ADHD, you can have a present practice every day of your life. I want to offer you these questions to examine some things for the root segment. When was the last time you were fully present without technology or distraction? Like, when was the last time you just were here? I'm looking at this picture on this wall here because I wake up sometimes and I just look at her and I just look at the details of the photo and I'm just like taking it in. I'm not thinking about who painted it. I'm not thinking about how much it costs. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just observing it and taking it all in and like really appreciating being able to see art, you know? That's presence right there. Well, when was the last time you can say that you were so present in a moment without technology or distraction? And be honest, you know, because even if you can't say that you have recently, that's okay. You do not need to invite any shame or any guilt. It's just something to observe. The second question is, what do you fear will happen if you don't capture the moment? Like, if something big happens and your phone dies, are you gonna die too? No, you're not. You're gonna be just fine. If you are on your way somewhere and you leave your phone at home or, you know, whatever, it runs out of storage, I don't know, what's gonna happen? Nothing. You're going to live. You're going to be just fine. And you're going to be so grateful that you just are alive to experience the moment. Another one of the moments where I am constantly present, or another experience where I'm constantly present, is when I'm on a plane. When I'm in the air, I am so in the air. I'm like thinking like, wow, I'm flying right now. Like, no matter how many flights I've been on, and I've been on many flights, I still have such gratitude for this metal bird carrying me through the air. It's like, what do you even mean? I think that's so insane. But I have so much gratitude for it that when I get in the plane, I just stare out the window and I'm amazed at life. And so I am not afraid. I don't have any fears of any of those things because I don't need to take a picture to remember the gratitude that I have. I'm in the moment, I'm present, I'm cherishing it, and that is enough for me. And so if you have some anxiety that like, if you don't have it captured, then how can you remember it? Ask yourself, what is the true fear there? What energy is coming up? Where do you feel it in your body so that you can then work on it? Because if you don't bring awareness to it, then you can't change it. Now, for the rise segment of this episode, I want to remind you that presence is truly the seat of your power. That's where we harness the things in. We really soak it in there. When we are present, we are like on the throne, sitting real tall, head held very high, crown on. Now, when we remove ourselves from the present, that's when we take that shit off. And that is when chaos ensues. And not just chaos, but like that's when you really are diminishing your power. And who wants to do that? Being present helps you create with clarity, manifest from alignment, and own your choices with no regrets. Have you ever been so flustered in a moment, or maybe you were worried, or you were anxious about something and you just made a snap judgment? You're like, yeah, what up? Yeah. Like, and then you regretted it. It could be something so small as you were so overwhelmed. And somebody was like, do you want to eat this? And you're like, yeah, whatever. And they brought it to you. You're like, I don't want that. Because you didn't take a moment. You were not present in that moment to really, truly ask yourself, sit with yourself, say, self, what is it that we'd like to eat? And because you were so out of it, you just said whatever. And so, yeah, you just got whatever. That is what is happening, but on a grand scale for many people in today's world. People are just fumbling, not present. And their lives reflect accordingly. They're trying to take all the photos. Now that I'm thinking about it, it pains me to see so many experiences on the internet of people falling or getting hurt or getting robbed or just any of the things. And there's so many people recording it, but not enough people doing something about it. And I'm not saying that everybody has to put their cape on and save the world, but how disconnected are we from being present that the emotion of let me help is diminished and deprioritized as opposed to let me take my phone out? Like, what the type of society are we living in? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is so crazy that presence is taking a back seat to content. Really strongly quote. I digress. Presence, like I said, helps you to create with clarity. When you are in the moment, you can make better decisions. You don't have any regrets. You can manifest things from being and feeling aligned in where you are. And that is truly the seat of your power. Being present also helps you anchor in and become magnetic and intentional. When you're here and you're not worried or stressed about other shit, you can call it in. You know exactly what you want. You tend to say, I don't know less. Because even when you don't know, you know how to figure it out more because you're being present with yourself. So you tend to have less moments where you're flustered or you're confused because you've invited in so much clarity. And that is the goal with being present, is to invite in more clarity, more intentionality, increase our vibrations, become more magnetic so that you can attract, you can manifest, you could create not just any old thing, but really from the seat, from the soul, from your spirit. That is true power right there. Let me offer you these two questions for the rise segment. How could you create a personal no photo ritual for certain moments? Like there are people who don't do photos for their weddings. Love that idea. Love that. Because be here with me. Why are you focused on just be here with me? I think that's beautiful. How can you do that on a you scale, an individual scale? Like what is a promise that you could possibly make to yourself? Or what is just a rule? Like when you're about to experience a big moment, maybe you take 5 minutes and you say every time, doesn't matter what it is, I just need 5. And you don't worry about the content of it. You just sit in it and you say, wow, this is what I'm doing. Maybe before you get on stage, or before you get married, or, before you go to work even. Like, it doesn't have to be these grandiose moments. Being present is something that we have to be daily. So maybe it looks like before you get out your bed, before you get the camera set up on the tripod, just take a moment. I do it with this podcast. I just today recorded this, but before I record every episode, I say a prayer. Y'all don't ever see that. It's just something that I do. Today, I actually recorded it because I don't even know why I did that. So I don't know if I'll post it, but I say a prayer and I welcome in the magic and the creativity and the presence of God's love before I start talking, because I want to be present with the content that I'm creating. So ask yourself, how could you create a personal no photo ritual for certain moments? The next question is, what does presence look like in your daily life? And I just talked about it. Maybe it's just a morning ritual where you're like looking at the clouds every day. Maybe it's something where when I wake up, I look at my hands, I start doing this, like, okay, fingers is working. I twinkle my toes a little bit, like, okay, those guys are on too. I may stretch wide, like get the wingspan going, like just to feel into my body again, because it's a new day. And so how do you define presence in your daily life? What does that look like? And if you don't have any answers to these questions, it just is inviting you to create. No shame, no guilt, like we said. Just create. Create it if you don't have it. There's no judgment. I also want to share some practical tips. If those questions were a little bit difficult for you, don't worry about it, because here are some things that will support you in being more present in your life. First is no phone zones, phone-free zones, right? Maybe it's at the dinner table. Maybe it's the bedroom. Maybe it's during morning walks or Sunday dinners or when you got girls' night. Create some phone-free zones for yourself that will take you out of filming and into feeling. The next one is a sensory anchoring. Focus on one sense in the moment to root yourself in the now. What do you smell? What do you feel? What do you hear? What are you tasting? I love doing that with food. When I'm out eating, it's such a joy to me. I'm smiling right now. But I'll put a spoon in my mouth and I'm like, could taste the cumin, could taste the basil, could taste cilantro, whatever it is. I want the whole full experience. And a lot of the times, especially when it comes to food, we remember things based on taste. Another word that I learned, when I was selling my candles, was the word Proustian. And it refers to this concept of scent tying into memories that were forgotten and bringing it back into like your conscious awareness. If you were not present in those moments to take in the scent, you wouldn't have any Proustian moment. So like if you smell something and you're like, man, that reminds me of my grandma's house. Yeah, that's because you were present back then and you remember the smell. And that is triggered by whatever you're smelling right now. You want to create more of those sensory anchoring experiences. The next thing is, again, the no photo challenge. Invite yourself to create a challenge. Maybe it's 5-10 days, no phone, no videos, no photos. And see if it creates a different experience of presence in your life. Then we have breath breaks. And this is something you can do wherever, whenever. It's free. This is something you should do all the time. Pause. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale so that you reset your awareness. Whether you're in the car, whether you're in the shower, wherever you are. Matter of fact, let's do that right now. Let me get my legs up together. If you're watching this with me, if you're listening to this podcast, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And slowly breathe out. Open your eyes. Thank you for doing that. But those breath breaks are so important. It just anchors you into being in the present moment. It increases your awareness. And then the last thing I want to offer you as a practical tip to stay present is to journal the memory. After you experience the memory, maybe you write about it. Maybe a voice note. Maybe a video after, but not during. And it doesn't mean that you can't capture things. It means that you want to capture more of your reaction of what you've experienced and not just the experience itself. Again, we are shifting from filming to feeling. That is the goal. I'm about to wrap this episode up, y'all, but I hope this did something for you. I hope that from this episode and this conversation, you cherish life in this present moment. And remember that the best memories aren't posted, they're felt. So get out of the notion that if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Like, we don't need to see all your life. We don't need to see it. But as long as you feel it, as long as you're present in it, then that's really all that matters. Nothing else matters. It doesn't. No matter how much they try to sell us a different story. I'm leaving you with this journal prompt. What's one memory you wish you had lived more and documented less? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in the comments. If you had a memory that you'd like to offer that you wish you would have lived more in. Those fleeting memories, they go by so quickly. And if you could remember anything or you're like, damn, I got all these pictures, but I wish I would have just been in it. Yeah, drop that in the comments. Before I get out of here, I'm going to share a few reminders. If you are looking to connect with me on socials, head over to IG or Threads and follow me at It's Kenesha B. And if you want to follow the podcast, you can check out the podcast on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at To The Crown Pod. That's the number 2, The Crown Pod. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I am on a mission to grow the channel, so please share this episode. Share it with a friend who needs to be more present, who needs a reminder to be more present, and maybe just like watch it a few times for yourself to just really live in what the words I'm sharing are saying. But yeah, subscribe and follow the podcast on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, podcasts, and Apple. And this is the last week for the Affirmation deck pre-order. My Hey Friend Hey affirmation card deck, Daily Affirmations for a Friend, has been live all month long. I hope that you've gotten your pre-order in. I'm going to ship these out in the next few days. And such a special deck, 31-day affirmation journey for those looking to spice up how they talk to themselves, for those needing a little bit more pouring into in the season, and for you to share with other people who also need someone to speak life into their lives. This is the deck for you. And it's daily affirmations. The goal is to pull one a day and to really just bring it all together, to increase your life, to increase your manifestation power, to increase being present and cherishing every moment. The Hey Friend Hey card deck is here for you. So make sure you head over to heyfriendhey.com to grab your deck in the next few days, because after that, I'm closing the pre-orders, closing down the orders, and I'm going back to Thailand. I'm not in Thailand right now, but I'm heading back, so I'm done. Last but not least, the retreat is live. So if you are looking to come hang out with me in Thailand in 2026, which I hope you are, check out Glow Forward, the retreat. It's on my website at www.itskeneshab.com. Head over to the site, check out the retreat. We'll be in Thailand for 6 days and 7 nights. I hope that you bring yourself. I hope that you come to reconnect, to center, to take the masks off, shed some light on the darkness, and grow in community. It's going to be tough love. We're going to share some hard truths, but we're going to come out way brighter than we started. And that is my goal for Glow Forward. All right, y'all. Next week is the second to last episode of the podcast, and we're talking about positivity and being positive. And yeah, before I go, remember that presence is where life is actually happening. Okay. If you want to live a life you're more proud of, you have to be in it, not just post about it. Let me say that again. If you want to live a life you're more proud of, you have to be in it, not just post about it. Until next time, beautiful friends. Ready? Get set. Let's grow.